Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Candy, and today I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be talking to single ladies, single women, about don't be giving out your wifey duties, your wifey perks. One of the things that I want to definitely advise if you're a single lady, is that before you go looking for love, that you focus on you, that you work on you and get your life in order, that you know who you are and what you're created to be. Because when the time is right, in due season, God will present to you that man, that husband. I was told about, this single lady that she's basically putting out wifey perks and duties in hopes that that guy will see what a catch they have with you, right? What a prize they have. And it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that in a man's mind. Men think different than women. That's just a fact. I'm gonna say this. I don't normally listen to secular music. Every once in a while, when there's like a buzz of a new song, a new something that's come out, especially by females, female rappers in particular, I will check it out. And to be honest, most of the time, it makes my stomach turn. What female artists are putting out there for other women. This lady, her name is Jaguar Wright. I don't know her. I don't know her work, her background, so please don't come after me. But I'm just going off of a clip where she was talking about some of today's female rappers, and they have men ghostwriting their music, and they're writing their songs, and because it's men doing it, well, obviously they're singing from a man's perspective on how women should be, how they should talk. After hearing some of these songs, I have to say I believe her. I believe it. One of the things that I want to stress, there's going to be like 2 or 3 things, what I would call the don'ts for single women. But it's important that you recognize your worth, that you recognize your value. Don't get caught up, don't get lost on today's pop culture and how society defines what a woman should be like, especially if you're single. Now, if you have a boyfriend, or you're in the quote unquote getting to know each other stage, which could be, before that boyfriend girlfriend phase, or even maybe in the fiance, you're engaged to be married, but you're not married. Don't be giving out wifey duties, wifey perks to someone that's not your husband. And what I mean by wifey duties and perks, I'm talking about cooking, cleaning, doing their laundry, because you're desperate to show them what a prize you really are, because they're not your husband. And those acts of love, instead of, I know I'm calling them wifey duties, but they're really acts of love. They belong between a husband and a wife. They don't belong to Mo, Larry, and Curly. And I'm probably dating myself with that, because those are the 3 Stooges. But you get the idea. The second thing I would say, because before I go to the second one, listen, that man should already be doing that for himself. If you're going to marry somebody, marry a man that has his own place, can show that he can manage his monthly bills, has a vehicle, or working on getting a vehicle, has a job, can provide financially, has all that in place. Because if they can take care of their monthly expenses, a roof over their head, a vehicle to go back and forth to work in, then you've got a chance there that he can support you. He can bring on somebody else. One of the things about Adam and Eve in the Bible was that before God gave Adam Eve, he put him in the garden. and he gave them the responsibility to maintain it. And if I have any gardeners out there, anybody with a green thumb or farming, you know that it takes work to not just to maintain it, but to grow it, to, bring fruits out of that labor. And so before God gave Adam Eve, he put him to work. And he says, you got to maintain this garden. And then when he brought the wife, that's the same way that you do. You got to maintain this marriage, this relationship. You got to grow in this and take care of it. Number 2, I would say, don't be following a boyfriend or a fiance to another city, another town. You follow your husband, not a boyfriend, not a fiance, not someone that after a petty argument is gonna leave you stranded with no way to get home. Man, have I heard stories like that, and I'm like, oh my God. I always think of my husband. He would always tell me about other things, but he would say, don't put yourself in positions you don't need to be in. And he's passed away, he's gone with the Lord, but every time that I want to kind of, move in a certain direction that maybe is not for me, it's like I'll hear him. Don't put yourself in positions that you don't need to be in. Because a man that's going to make a marital commitment understands the promises that he makes at the altar about, this is flesh of my flesh. What he's saying is, it's like if I were to get a hammer and I would put my arm out and I would start hammering away at my arm. Why would I do that? Why would I hurt myself? That's ridiculous. That's crazy. That doesn't make sense. But when a man marries a woman and vice versa, he understands that this woman becomes flesh of his flesh. Why would he hurt her? Why would he do anything to compromise her safety? He wouldn't leave her stranded out in the middle of nowhere so that she can find her own way home. Even though some of us as women, we deserve that because we don't know when to close our mouths. But I'm talking about men that know who they are in Christ, that know who they are and the responsibilities of a marriage. They understand at the altar that it is till death do us part. It is from, in sickness and in health. And so none of these female rap artists that I can think of with their music is talking about these relationship principles, these marital principles. Number 3, I would say, don't be so quick to give up or give away your cookie. And I'm talking about a cookie, your private parts, or any other snacks, just because they say, I love you. Because what if it doesn't work out? What if it never gets to marriage? And you've given something of value, because you're valuable, for nothing. I do have a virtual life coach, and he's a male, he's a man, he is married. And you know what his advice is to people that are starting to date and get to know each other? And it's no different than my senior pastor. Well, my senior pastor says up to the altar, but my virtual coach says that you shouldn't even share a kiss for the first 6 months. It's about talking, getting to know each other, going out, having experiences, getting to know that person for their mind. And look at this. Go like this. Stand in front of the mirror and go like this. And say, or understand, you're not going to give up these lips just to anyone. Why would you do that? Now, some of you might think I'm old-fashioned, but I'm actually talking about an era that women respected themselves. And because they respected themselves, they were treated with respect. There's a saying that my senior pastor says that a man will go as far as a woman will let him. So if you're the one for that man, he's gonna wait until marriage, until he's ready to make that commitment. When I met my husband, we went out on our first date. It was the month of February, Valentine's, and February 4 months later, he asked me to marry him. He knew. And that's something about men that I've learned, as I said, from, my male mentors, that when a man knows, he knows. And he's going to lock it in. You don't have to convince him, do cartwheels, and you don't got to do nothing but just be true to yourself. And he'll know. And so they're not going to ask you, hey, can you wash my clothes? No, wash them yourself. I wouldn't say that out loud, but I would think it, because I don't want to disrespect, but at the same time, I'm not gonna give out wifey perks to someone that's not my husband. It belongs to my husband and nobody else. But there are men out there that are gonna try, see how far they can get away, how much they can get away with, and you gotta have some snap in you to know the difference. They're not gonna ask you to move in with them, or they move in with you. They're not gonna ask you to move out, go follow them to another city. They're not gonna ask you to put out just because they say they love you. A man will go as far as a woman will let him. Remember that. And so he's gonna wait, and he's gonna make that commitment. But if he can't wait and he starts pressuring and throwing tantrums and that, oh, you don't love me, and if you did, you would do this, you would show me, you're not giving those wifey perks, then that's not the one for you. That's for somebody else. That man belongs to somebody else, not to you. That's not for you. You know how they have this saying about women that are real loose? I just learned it, and they say, at first I didn't understand it, but they say, oh, she's for the streets. Well, if you have a man in your life that's pressuring you, doesn't want to wait, doesn't want to make the commitment, or it's been weeks, months, years, and they don't put a ring on it, you know what? He's for the streets. I don't know if that makes sense to put that on a man, but I'm just saying, he's for the streets, right? And so, again, this is a video that I'm focusing on single women. And all of this is coming from a place of love, because I want to see you excel. I want to see you grow. I want to see you get everything your heart desires, in life. And part of that is finding a good husband. But it starts with you, and growing yourself, and taking care of you, making sure that you've got all that, doing the work for yourself and becoming the best version of yourself. And so I hope this video helps. And I do have a link. I do one-on-one coaching. I also, have my email on there. If you have any questions, you can email me. And as always, do something good for you. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.